the Parks and Recreation Commission. Go around the room and say who's present, please. Go ahead and start.
Jake Klinkfor, staff.
Dawn DeSorcy, staff.
Shane Blazer, Mayor.
Greg Brown, Commission Member.
Tom Eklund, Commission Member.
Mary Wolosik, staff.
Tom Rioma, council member.
Dean Veneman, chairperson.
Lee Tall, Commission Member.
Patrick Gatterman, commission member.
Paul Voller, Public Works Superintendent.
Thank you. Okay, first item on the agenda is called order, and then approve the minutes from May 10th and June 1st. Everybody have a chance to review them? What are your wishes?
Move to approve.
Second that.
Motion by Blazer, second by Thau to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passed. Next item's an update on the first few weeks of the Aquatic Center. Dawn?
I put reports in the packets with how many daily passes were sold. The total was cut off on the bottom, but it's 5,431, and that's through this afternoon. The total amount was $37,208. And then I had just a report of where things are at with our sales and concessions. I don't have the costs yet for all of the food or the staff hours. And then the other page in there is the total season passes and punch passes and all of those things that have been sold. And that's all as of this afternoon. I do.
On this daily pass sales report, where it's broken down by day non-resident, day pass, single-use resident, how are we checking on the non-resident? There's three, like on the first day on June 7th, there's 3 and 4, and there's non-resident. How's that click?
I think they only put non-resident if they definitely know they are not a resident. We
Okay.
don't, it's the same price for both of them, so
Okay.
I kept both buttons on the cash register screen, but I don't know that they
Okay.
always know the difference.
So, where's the season pass? So we, obviously we can't tell.
There we go. For the Guardian non-resident, they're charged for, those are non-swimmers, so they're charged $4 for a non-resident, and for a city resident, they're charged $2. So I think that's what it reflects.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, where's the page on the season pass? Yeah, I was just gonna go over that. So it appears that the non-resident seniors or season passes are fairly minimal. So do we think we're getting a fair amount of day resident or day pass non-residents then? Or is that,
I've noticed from being over there, they do check with people coming in if they are residents and they can purchase that punch pass, and it seems that a lot of residents ask about that because they're the only ones that can purchase that, so they have sold a lot of the punch passes at the pool, but then obviously a lot of day passes and a lot of season passes that first week we were open. I'm trying to get the dollar amount for the season passes, if that's something you're interested in as well.
It'd be helpful, yeah. Yeah, it would seem that we'll have to do some evaluation on the non-resident and resident next year, I think. Still seems like there's got to be a way to check that. Any further discussion on any questions, comments?
Do we know what the monthly operational cost of the aquatic center is? Yet? Okay.
No, we don't.
And then another question I had was in terms of we set the capacity at what, 600, was it? So have we achieved that in which day? Never? Not a day?
Not all at one time.
Okay. So we haven't had to turn anybody away or nothing like that?
No.
What was like, just the estimate, you think was the most crowded day? Would you have an estimate at one
Those
time?
first couple days, it was 500 and some.
Yeah, it was just over 500, like 526 or 536 when I happened to look at the monitor, and that's when it was real hot.
Any further discussion?
I did get the grand total of season pass sales, and that would include the punch passes as well. That was $53,240.
Pretty good.
And Dawn, just for my own notes, you said through the 28th, or actually, did you say through today? What was the sale then, the total for the daily pass sales report?
The total dollar amount?
Yeah.
$37,208.
Thanks.
Okay, next item on the agenda is consider approval of swim day deals and events.
That would be my request. Different aquatic municipalities offer different specials during the week to try to draw people in, because Monday through Thursdays are usually their quiet day. So I would propose to either reduce costs, maybe possibly for those days that we offered, or an option is just not to have a reduction, but still to offer a special event. And my thoughts were to offer like Brewers Day, their first day of opening, which would be July 21st, which is a Wednesday, at a reduced rate of $5 an entry if they wear a Brewer or Major League Baseball attire, or NFL kickoff day, August 5th, which would be a Thursday, for $5 entry with NFL attire. Feed Our Community Day, which would be August 17th, and that's where they would charge them $5 and also bring in a non-perishable, non-expired food item that we would donate to the family center in our community. And then another special would be like Season Pass Customer Appreciation Day, where all the people that have bought season passes would be able to come on the last night that we are open after hours from 5:30 to 7 and have a free swim just for the season pass members only. A couple other options would be like Disney Day or Christmas in July. But some of these events could be done without a reduced cost, if you so wish, or just have the option of no reduction.
Thoughts on that? Are we in the position to reduce costs?
No, but I don't think we ever will be.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think there's some good ideas there, at least
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
fun
Yeah.
and.
There's got to be some kind of incentive.
Yeah, and a couple of dollars, isn't going to make or break the aquatics facility, and
No.
a couple of days, it's not every day. And especially that food one, non-perishable. Our food pantry would always welcome, the addition of that.
That's cool.
Kind of up to you, but it won't make or break us.
So how many days do you think we would want to run through that?
So list off 5 there, Mary?
I
Or?
left those Brewers Day, NFL Kickoff Day, the Feed Our Community Day, and then the Season Pass Customer Appreciation Day were the ones where I was looking for like the lower $5 entry. And like Disney Day and Christmas in July are things that we can do without reduction, but still do fun things at the pool to try to draw people there. So you're looking at those 3,
And I think-
besides Customer Appreciation Day.
And season pass day isn't really a cost aside from just whatever staff's on
Correct.
hand, but because we're not open in the evenings at all, so this is kind of a nice event for those season pass people.
Can I, like, entertain a motion for that? It sounds like, or any further discussion?
I'll move to approve the days as outlined.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, who seconded? Oh, Patrick. So I have a motion to approve the special day, so it would be a $5 entry fee that day?
$5, and then they'd have to wear the attire.
Whatever. yeah,
Or bring the
whatever-
item.
Whatever the item is.
Yes.
Motion by Byrne and second by Gatterman. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposition? Motion passed. Great. Thanks, Mary. And I put this item 5 on the agenda just because I'm not really sure, maybe this is a little too late to start, I'm not really sure how we, other than just the website, well, for instance, what you just talked about, and how we're marketing anything really, other than just the website, and I was just wondering, do we put things on the board, if there's any other ideas? I don't know, there's not that much time left to market the cabanas and such, but just wondering how we actually get that word out to the public. And if we are getting a good turn on the website, I guess with my thoughts and ideas on that.
Yeah, posted on the Facebook page and on the cities, on the aquatics page on the website. I have the little flyer down at the pool, but maybe over at some of our rentable facilities or something, or else.
Well, we came kind of late to the party when we started doing that, so
Yeah.
what have we had so far on that? Or is that farther down?
We've actually got 24 rentals for the full season so far, but I'm still getting a lot of calls about them, so I think there'll be more.
With the PA system also at the Aquatic Center, we have announced that we have the rentals available to the patrons that are there that day. We do occasionally announce that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can probably reach out to our local radio stations or see if they can advertise.
Yep, yeah, that's a good call. Yep.
I can bring you back with me, Dean, and we can promote it.
Yeah, that was a good tag team day. Yeah, it was just some food for thought.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Item 6 is discussion on aquatic facility rentals, which we just did, and suggested to review the future weather events impacting rentals. Midday aquatics that are closing, things of that nature. Jake?
Yeah, so basically, we're just kind of thinking, trying to be ahead of the game here when people do rent out these cabanas. Let's say they're there for hour and a half swimming with their friends and family. And all of a sudden a storm or Mother Nature closes down the facility for the day. I guess we're just looking out at seeing, are we supposed to reimburse these patrons some type of refund back? See if they have the cabana rented for 3 hours and they've gotten 2 hours of swimming in, I think that's plenty of time to say not give them a refund back. I know we had a situation 2 weeks ago at the Rapids room. They left early because the pool closed down, but they could have still stayed in their rental building, but they chose to leave. We did refund them, I think, half their swimming, which came up to like $13. But so we just are kind of, like I said, playing ahead of the game on what we should do in these situations.
Yeah, I guess refund or offer a credit.
Because it gets a little tricky when you start putting in, you know, they're paying extra for food, ice cream. So we're thinking if they didn't eat or, you know, place an order for food yet, that's probably something we could break down to give them at least that amount of money back. Or vouchers for pizzas when they come back again.
So is that that's the only occurrence and just the one?
For, yes, I believe so.
Like I said, these are all upcoming events.
They could be,
So have we shut it down midday more than once?
that twice, Mary?
At least twice, yes. 'Cause there was a cabana rental too that a guy was gonna pay for another hour. And that was last week when we had the storm come through. So twice that I know of that we've closed early.
So I know this past Saturday, we had a rental at the Rapids room, and they wanted to buy swimming passes, but, you know, looking at the future forecast, we knew it wasn't looking good for us to be open, so they still rented the room, but we told them to hold off on buying swimming passes, and that's what we did.
Jake, I like the idea of vouchers personally. You know, reimbursement's great. However, getting them to come back, the best way is getting them something to make them come back.
Right.
Which
And most
voucher's
of
a
the
great
time,
idea. And they're watching the weather probably the day before. They understand the implications, the risks of going renting the room. The one question I have is what's the policy that they can cancel? Is it 24 hours, 6 hours? Because that impacts that as well.
Mhm.
For our other shelters, it's always been 10 business days, but because some of this is so weather dependent, I don't know that we would have a problem if they decided, I don't know, 24 hours or whatever,
Right.
just only for the weather dependent shelters, and might have a better idea of the forecast 24 hours in advance, but you never know.
I think we should have a policy created or recommendations created that talk about what cancellation timelines look like, what voucher, you know, sort of, because frankly, if you booked it and you can't attend or it's closed that day or whatever, then clearly I think you get it again for that same, you know, same duration or whatever, and that's easily to accomplish. But if it's a midday thing, or let's say an emergency comes up where you can't attend, and, you know, so forth. So I think having that spelled out in some regard for the commission here to approve would make a lot of sense.
And I have talked to other municipalities and see what they did. They said they usually don't refund unless the customer brings it up. So,
Well, in that regard too, then if you have you know, you have that policy or those guidelines, then you can have that, you know, at least to point to. When somebody rents it, you can give them that cancellation information, and then you typically don't have any problems with that, I would say.
And it helps with employees handing it out as well versus having to go to a supervisor or something else. It's a standardized document and easily explained.
Is there a deposit, do they do a deposit or?
it's on the Rapids room. Just the Rapids room for a key deposit.
Okay.
But they pay up front for,
They pay up
Cost
front.
of- yes.
Do you have some guidelines then? Do you want to put something together for policy before the next meeting?
Yep.
table that till we have a policy in place. Next item's discussion of aquatic center hours. Time to get something on that?
Yeah, I had a couple calls, I guess,
Well, hours are Monday through Thursday from noon until 6 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then on Sunday, noon to 5 p.m. Are open swim hours. There's been a couple people that have mentioned it to myself when I've been there, that we could stay open later, you know, we work until 5, et cetera. Something else to consider when you're changing the hours is that we also offer programming in the evening. We offer swim lessons and aqua Zumba. So if you push the open swim time back, then you're also pushing, if you want to offer programming, you're pushing that back, and then it gets cooler, chance of rain. So it affects your programming at the end of the day as well. So that's something just to consider.
What time does the programming start?
Yeah, we, the pool, they start clearing the pool at 5:45, so it gives 15 minutes for everybody that is there during open swim to exit the facility. So our aqua Zumba starts at 6:15 and goes until 7 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays, which is a very popular class. And then we offer our swim lessons from 6:30 to 7. So there is a break in between so that the guards that are working, they can clean up, they can go to the bathroom, you know, it gives them a 15-minute break before they got to go out and maybe guard or teach swim lessons.
So, are swim lessons daily then, or?
They are on Tuesday and Thursday opposite of aqua Zumba.
Okay,
So
Mondays and Wednesdays.
it's all done through scheduling, yes. And then there's also been requests to offer the water walking at night, which is popular in the morning, that we offer Monday through Thursday from 11 to 11:45 a.m. We have the lap swim, water walking, and water jogging. And there's been several that have requested it to be offered in the evening as well.
It seemed, but I didn't hear you say anything about Friday or Saturday.
Because we open at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's a long day for the lifeguards. I know a couple of them that did complain. They said that's why we purchased a season pass. So it doesn't matter if we come for just a half an hour or an hour. You know, we bought the season pass so that we could come whenever we wanted, and it didn't matter how much time we spent at the facility. So there's different reasons different people look at it.
And we could look at the numbers, and we could maybe on Fridays open up at 11 instead of 10, and then stay open till 7 instead of 6. Because we don't have any programming on Fridays. So that's something we could look at.
Yeah, that might be a call. I don't, if everybody's used to coming at noon, Monday through Thursday, I'd be surprised if we're busy at 10 on Fridays.
You'd be surprised, but yeah, it's definitely not as busy, like you said, at noon, but there's still people waiting outside at 9:45.
Well, which leads me to ask, do you think they would be waiting outside at 11 then on Monday through Thursday?
Yes.
if we're not opening it long enough on Thursday. I get it, you can only do something that's so much. Guard. make it work.
The other piece that was looked at, Dean, was through the software that we use for checking people in and out, the amount of people that were, patrons that were there, you know, after that, between 6 and 7 last year wasn't that high, you know, which led to the decision that we did. But that may have been a slightly knee-jerk reaction, you know, last year was COVID and maybe not, obviously not the numbers that we're seeing this year of people using it either, so.
And Mary, there's programming every Monday through Thursday?
Yes, we have Monday through Thursday, we've got Aqua Zumba on Monday and Wednesday evenings till the end of July. And then we have swim lessons that run in intervals. We usually have a week off in between because if, being an outdoor facility, if it rains, then we have room for makeup lessons. So Monday through Thursday evenings are pretty booked.
Okay.
Yeah, Jake, I would be interested in hearing about possibly staying open later on Saturday, or on Friday, excuse me.
Okay.
Open a little later if that would- Update on the dog park?
Yeah, I believe it was last Friday, I met with the representative from American Fencing out at Northern Pond, where myself and the mayor and Dawn met out there for maybe a future dog park out there. I believe the quote for the 4-foot fence that covered almost 2,000 feet of fence was around $30,000. Obviously, the area that we would be fencing in would need some selective tree cutting and a lot of work, but we all kind of agreed that that's kind of a park that nobody really knows about. The fence would not include the pond, so people still can walk around at evenings around the pond, not being disturbed by dogs. So we put that in perspective. So yeah, like I said, I think the quote was in the packet. I believe.
29.6.
Yep. So that's material and them installing all the fencing. But again, that'd take some work getting everything cleared out, and topsoil brought in, and grass grown.
Sorry, what was the location?
Out at Norton Pond, so 23rd and Norton, kind of by Washington Middle School.
So do we have a comprehensive plan for what this park would look like?
No, but I did talk to Ayers, who's doing our CORP plan, and I talked to them about that, and that's something that they're willing to work with us, creating one for us.
Yeah, I think for me anyway, if we were gonna move on something like that, it wouldn't be, just the fence, we look at the whole complex, and that was
Roughly be about 5 acres of fencing.
Yeah, I think it's something that could be fundraised. And, it's something that the dog people are pretty excited about since our last dog park has closed. And also it'd be something to be discussed through budget season and not something looking for approval now, but something that we'd take care of then.
I know that they get a ton of money at the Rome one from donations. That I don't think the city spent any, or Rome spent anything on that. It's completely supported by donations.
Dean, if I may. That pond has been on the Public Works referral list, I couldn't tell you for how many years, of what to do with it. Technically, nobody's supposed to be there. It's not a park. Many years ago, there was a very serious, deadly, I do believe, swimming accident that took place. The site is at least was with signs of not to enter by the city, even though then people do go in and fish. It had come to my attention that could we somehow make it so bicyclists could be able, on their journeys around, be able to go in and use it to rest at times. And so it got put on the agenda, and nothing has been done with it. It's been a number of years. Still exists, I do believe, in the situation that people are not supposed to go in there. The city dumps their street sweepings in there, which I don't think they should be doing, but that is. And now this pops up. Couldn't get it on Public Works. They were too busy. And I was chair of Public Works. And I went along with that. Then I'm not chair of Public Works. It's not Park and Rec is. Lo and behold. But then we had time to come up with all this. A little bit irritated here. Went for a dog park. What happened to the group? Let them come up with one. We're not in the business. Come up with dog parks or whatever. This place is that is off limits. And I'll tell you what, it's 2 blocks out the back of my house. When I go home tonight, if somebody's there fishing, I'm going to get the cops and they get them out of there.
Is that whole area?
This
Sorry, Tom, I thought you were done. I apologize.
What's that?
I thought you were done. I apologize. I didn't mean to speak over you. I have a question about what all that entails, what land area is over there.
24th, 23rd Street, Norton Street, Kingston Road.
All the way up to 54? Because I had to Google it. I didn't know what Norton Pond was. But that's all city property, and it's all basically
Yeah.
the pond and...
But it's not a park, so it's not to be used, basically, for anything at this point in time. Then a referral if we could use it for anything. But the no trespassing, no signs would have to then come down, but it's been on the back burners. Can we even do that? So this somewhat is jumping the gun of coming in with a price of $29,600. And we don't know if we can use that, even for that, if the people even wanted to do it. And like I said, that's been laying on the referral list for a number of years. Another one of these things, going in the back door to come out the front door when there ain't a front door to get into. So they're gonna make a front door to get in. And this is because of an accident that took place 30 years ago or more. And so I think we better do a little more research into, before we get too far along with saying if we want, but even if it's available to do. The signs are gone. Somebody took them down without my knowledge. I think they're still there. But, that's basically all I have to say. I know there was a thing in the paper last week and whatever, and this here, so, but it's just kind of a, not that people try to come, or, you know, to see to try and use parts, land or whatever to do things. I understand that, but it's, make sure the land is available. Don't come after the fact and then expect the thing to be changed. What to do with it. I've been around too long. I've seen too many of these. So that's, and it's not because it's 2 blocks behind, out the back of my house. If it was 2 miles from my house, I'd feel the same way. It's, probably, Craig, for you, it's probably about, if I count quick enough, it's probably about 6 blocks from Washington School or so.
Yeah. I Googled it because I had no clue. I wanted to see what land we were talking about.
Okay.
And my follow-up question, if a couple, are you concluded?
Yeah.
Okay. So the couple questions that I have is well, number one, I'm curious how it got on the agenda, if it's a surprise. I mean, I know I didn't request it, but I'm not sure where it's coming from. I know that since my arrival here, which is now going on 4 years, a little over 4 years, there's been talk about what to do with the dog park, because that dog park that was out in the, you know, whatever, the industrial park had closed down. And searching for that, I know there's committed people out there. A lot of people are dog owners and pet owners and want to see a spot for a dog park. But that's neither here nor there. And then the second thing I'd point out is that I would guess that there's some kind of process outlined, either in ordinance or in some capacity, that outlines how city land is in fact donated, you know, or earmarked as a park, and a process by which that transpires, I would think. Least of which being, can this be a park? Is it like safe to be a park? That kind of a, you know, that sort of thing. So I would point to, you know, some kind of process that could be followed to ensure that all of those boxes are checked and so forth. And get all that in order before we identify whether or not we're going to spend 30 grand on a fence to make a dog park. But back to that, there's a need. I think there's, you know, a significant need based on what I've heard around the community and so forth, particularly for people living in, you know, in the city where you have a small lot potentially, or you're in an apartment and you need a spot for your dog to run. It's pretty awesome to have a dog park to go to. So that wouldn't be because I'm standing in opposition to the dog park, but just to point out that there has to be a process by which city land gets earmarked or you know, denoted as a park, and then that kind of starts the process.
Sean?
Yeah, there was no intention of any approvals here. You know, obviously Tom brought up at the stormwater detention pond area, and there's probably the biggest chunk of city-owned land that is not already has as a designated use. And so the whole purpose is here is just to get the conversation going. Obviously, it would be done through budget process and going through those approvals, but I think the purpose is just to keep you guys informed. But there's no decision obviously has been made because Park and Rec or Public Works haven't made those decisions yet. But it's to start the conversation so we don't surprise you in the final hour. That's what we're doing here. So it's not meant to be sneaky or slide one through.
Definitely interested in looking to see if it's still on the referral list at Public Works stuff. It is still? I guess now that I think of it, did notice that. I didn't know where it was either.
Just kind of the question of what to do with it.
Yeah, because some of the discussions, because it's kind of wooded, so you the thought maybe if it's opened up, because a lot of people, if you go there, there's a well-worked path around there, so it's highly used area. And so
Okay.
would it make sense? It's very well used, and I hear the fishing is really good there, and people enjoy fishing there. But it does have no trespassing signs up. And so the thought potentially would be to maybe open up some of the wooded area so it's not so seclusive. And then with this dog park discussion that's been going on for years, and talking with staff that that would make a nice spot because of the area and the size of land that is there that's been undesignated. But this is kind of trying to get the conversation started and meant to keep you updated and the curiosity of what it would cost to fence in that area. We always do a lot of brush and tree work during the winter months, and so that's an opportunity that our forced labor accounts could work on, opening that up and addressing some of that. And given the discussions on dog parks, it's potentially that could be fundraised, and that cost of that fencing could be raised, because there is definitely a strong interested parties around for dog parks.
Is there a process to earmark city land as a park? Provide a park designation?
That's a good question,
Okay.
and that needs to be worked through.
Well, just from listening now, and again, not knowing that it was city land nor even having a clue where it was, it sounds like it would be probably a suitable location for something along those lines, particularly if it's currently well used for things like fishing and hiking or, whatever, just getting out into the woods. And you could fence off a spot, but I would say let's first decide whether or not it can be a park and whether or not that's the direction we want to move. And of course, we're only a small piece to that puzzle.
Sounds good.
Move on from there to update on the Teskey grant money remaining and plan for use.
Yeah, according to our finance team, we still have $311,000 left in the Teskey fund. Obviously, adding another attraction to the zoo would only benefit, and I think Paul and I would both agree that our staff did an awesome job building the parrot pen this last fall, early spring, and I don't see why we couldn't do it again with that money. And then just bring in another animal for people to see.
What was the number again?
311.
Any discussion on that? So are you looking for direction at this point on that, or?
Yeah, I talked about this at the last meeting. So it's great we have the money, but there should be some list of priorities that we'd want to go after to use that money. I seem to recall we had one at one point.
For the zoo.
For the zoo. But I'm not sure what was next on the list or if that's changed or what, but
Yep,
if we had that in front of us, I think, and maybe a suggestion on what to do next,
okay.
that would be helpful.
So it would be in a previous minutes, then, that list?
Yeah, it's probably quite a while ago, though. Probably a couple of years back, I guess.
I think in 2017, 2018, MSA completed that master plan of the zoo.
Yeah.
And I think at that time is when they came up with a list of projects and suggestions that came off of that.
That sounds right, Paul.
I could be off on the year because it seems like it's going by pretty fast.
Well, it could be 18, 19 too, but I know I was involved in that conversation. I didn't get here till July 17. So it could have been 17, 18, or 18, 19.
It's a lot of money to sit on. you want to come back with some ideas for the following.
Yep.
Couple of different things for the following meeting then. Update on renaming of the aquatics complex. How's that going?
Just looking at the names coming in, I think we have like maybe 5 or 6 that people had suggested. I don't know, I haven't seen the pool ones this week, but just a couple. I don't know if there's any that are gonna be usable or not yet. I guess we'll see.
Well, yeah, it's a good idea though to get community involvement, so how long, wasn't there a certain thing on Facebook that said there's so many days left for that? To submit,
It was for the month of June was kind of the intent of it, so
seemed
a
like
couple more days.
should we extend that?
We could. I don't know if people would notice or not. I guess we could put word out on Facebook or something.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess if ultimately there's no interest, then, then the branding will continue on with, the current existing name or the full name, and there won't be any branding. But I think it needs to make sense, and, Park and Rec will see all those. Kind of see what you think.
Well, if you want to extend the time for another couple of weeks, July 15th or something, just to give people opportunities where we're at, it would make sense to me.
I agree.
Update on the Mead baseball field fence renovation.
I apologize, I didn't realize the action that you guys took at the last month. I'll just give you an update, I guess. Tom Eklund had sent an email just questioning, where is this coming from or whatever. Obviously, the school district or the Wisconsin Rapids baseball is making the addition to at the high school with the 2 baseball fields and 2 softball fields. Prior to that taking place, I think it was kind of the 2017, the city had, when we built the splash pad, we had MSA do the master plan for the Mead complex, and that was to take and kind of do very similar situation and make it into a 3-leaf clover because we didn't have the space to build a 4-leaf clover over there. Hence the reason why some of the parties that were at the table at the time didn't like the 3-leaf clover, so they just simply went and approached the school district and are doing their things over there or whatever. Part of my thing is I don't like seeing master plans get put on the shelf and not doing anything with them. And so men's and women's softball isn't what it used to be. And so now this year they have combined and they're just using the women's softball diamond. And I think they're using it together pretty much the whole entire week. And so we have men's softball over there, and then we have this other field, like this year with the WIA, trying to cram a whole season into like a month and a half because of them having fall sports in the spring. We really don't, except for the 2 fields that the school district I always call it the school district, but the organization is building over there in Witter Field. Those are really the only 3 fields that we have for, the high school kid type baseball. I don't even know it's not Bronco League anymore, but anyways, a field that you can go to 315 in the corners. All of those fields over there are 300 feet to the corners. And, the tennis courts are in pretty bad shape. And so it was just looking at upgrading it at a minimal cost as far as I'm concerned. There's going to be moving of the fence, probably having to move the lights that Waterworks and Lighting Commission is willing to work with us on, and some real small grading to do in the outfield. And we can have another field that is capable, if the organization that's over at the school needs to have a 3rd field for a tournament, and Witter Field isn't available or whatever, It's just another place that they could also host another game. My personal opinion is, you know, I think when we looked at it, it was anywhere from $3 to $5 million, I believe, to switch everything around so that it was a 3-leaf clover. I don't think that the city will ever have that money available to do that. So why not maintain the assets that we already have in place? You know, and I'll get you a better number here by the next month's meeting or whatever to say this is what we'd have stuck into it. You know, but I think it'll just allow for some flexibility between the two fields at the high school and then the rafters at Witter Field, you know, having a place for these kids to be able to go and practice and play if the rafters have stuff going on. You know, I think it's just a small investment for just another opportunity. You know, we have, like I say, there's the 2 men's and women's softball fields, and then this field, they're both 300 to the corners. And if we moved it out simply the 15 feet, it'll allow them to just play that next level of baseball at one additional location. I don't know if I answered your question very well, Tom, or not.
Well, partly, I was interested if we were spending the money, who the users were. So
I
I'm
talked
not
to,
sure who
Yep.
those people are yet, I guess.
Well, I think the Ramblers are looking for, you know, a place to play. The Rangers, if they can't schedule a game at Witter Field, you know, obviously they're going to have the opportunity at the high school too. And I don't know, you know, I just know I can tell you about soccer because that can be a scheduling nightmare because that's the organization that I'm part of, you know. And like I say, just to simply have another opportunity, if you know, it's going to be busy at both locations. And if you get a rain day, that messes everything up. And now they're playing ball till 10 o'clock at night. So that's just what I was looking at. There was no organization that approached us at all. It was just simply that I was looking at and looking at the master plan, if you want to see it. Mayor Blazer brought it back down. You know, originally the master plan had 3 full-size fields, and we'd leave the other 2 alone and just upgrade this one to the full-size diamond.
Yeah, I think that was part of the discussion too. So if we were going to do some renovation to the ballparks, it impacted the tennis court. So what's the whole picture?
Yeah.
That's what we were.
Yeah, and like I said, I think you know, this is a good for a directional piece, you know, but everything has changed since the user group went away, right? You know, so it's still a city facility. RISA's still gonna have the use of that one field, men's and women's softball. It's my understanding they're still intending to stay at the Meade Fields to play. And so it would just be a matter of the 2 north diamond, or the north tennis courts, in my opinion, are not safe for anybody to be on because the cracks are so big. So we could start this process and to, I think your email's extent, you know, is come together with a 5-year, 10-year plan to, you know, in 5 years, make sure that those tennis courts are rebuilt on the north side where they're shown. You know, we don't necessarily have to expand the parking lot because, you know, we can leave it in the configuration that it is, so we can redo the parking lot that's over off of 17th Avenue, maintain the parking lot that we have there by the splash pad, and I think it'll be a nice location.
Yep, thank you.
and Tom, I do have some numbers that American Fence gave me for the pickleball court and tennis court renovations at Meade. For them, it would be $76,000 for pretty much duplicating the pickleball courts and tennis courts that are at the aquatic center. So taking that and almost the same, but obviously the price that they gave me from American Asphalt was lower because 2 years ago, that's when they did it. And so right now they're working on getting us kind of adjusted numbers to our current state of date. It was $100,000 when they did it 2 years ago at the aquatic center. So that was with the tennis court, pickleball court, and then that new parking lot in back.
Thank you.
Anything else on that one? Update on the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan.
Yeah, I talked to Ayers the other day. They're making a lot of progress. They actually sent me a link. I can forward it to everybody via email. It was 150 pages, so I didn't think that'd be worth printing all that. There's some areas that we as staff still have to fill out. They're looking at what kind of certain parks make each year for programs. Obviously, last year was very hard to judge because there wasn't too many programs going on last year, and we really weren't renting any of the pavilions. As a survey and concepts, like I said before, what they sent to me in that packet, everything is almost in the final draft. There's still some text that needs to be done, like I said. And they're still looking at what we'd like to do for park improvements. I met with...
What, I'm sorry,
What's that?
what did I'd like to do for what I didn't?
Park improvements. So I
Park
met with Rob, I think 3 weeks ago. We sat down and just kind of looked over the whole schematics on what we want to do for like Lions Park, just kind of situational stuff like that. So, like I said before, they're making great progress, and it should be, so I'm just reading here, finalized in the next couple months.
So since we talked about dog park earlier, is that gonna be included?
He asked if we would like to put it in there, and we haven't really discussed that much, so I think it was more of hearing what y'all said about the update on the dog park. We can proceed with putting that in there.
It doesn't hurt to include it, I
Right.
don't think. You know, doesn't mean you have to go forward. Right?
Okay, and next item is an update on the Parks and Rec Commission Ad Hoc Committee.
So Tom and Tom can fill in. So what we've been doing is our last meeting, we're starting to work with the current existing Park and Rec ordinance and just going through it and trying to pick out things, update it, and correct it to currently how it's being done currently, and kind of be a slow process, I think. You guys have anything? Pretty much summed it up.
Yeah, I think, like you say, we're stepping through it, kind of getting a baseline of understanding, and don't think we really have any disagreements at this point.
No.
It's just how to move forward, so.
And Tim was there to help explain room tax funding. Jake was also there, on how some operational things work, and just trying to get all on the same page and get an understanding. We'll get an email out to try to schedule another meeting again really soon.
Hey, good. The bills? Any questions on them? Motion by, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to accept the bills as presented. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition? Yeah. The ayes have it. Staff reports?
Well, we kicked off our rec programs this summer. We're in full force, so we've got our T-ball and pitch ball started on June 14th and 16th respectively. Both met maximum capacity. Those games are played at Witter Field along Chestnut and Lincoln Street. We've had a couple babysitting classes offered already, and both of those were met at maximum capacity. The zoo has scheduled as opened on May 31st. We've been about 200 patrons, visitors a day, averaging. And the aquatics opened as scheduled. The first 2 weeks were extremely busy. I mentioned that we had some programming that started the week of June 14th. Even though we opened the week of June 7th, I left the first week for trial and error and make sure everything was running smoothly before we started putting all our programming in place. So we do have the lap swim lessons, the aqua Zumba, private swim lessons, all in full force. We also have some special groups that are utilizing the facility in the mornings. We have the Lowell Senior Center, which is offering a water exercise class on Tuesday and Thursday mornings before we open. We also have a group of Wisconsin Rapids and Marshfield Opportunity Development Center, where they are bringing some of their people to the pool in the morning, as well as we have a group of child immune suppressed that are coming. I've been in touch with the Boys and Girls Club. I've been playing email tag with John Russell over there because they would like to have their participants come for a day and they're looking for a 2-hour block to bring their group over to the pool. And then I'm also currently working with the autistic instructor to offer autistic time for those kids to come to the pool aquatic center and participate. I am also looking at asking staff to extend the season past August 22nd. We're going to try to stay open longer if we can, if we have the lifeguards and attendance and concession and admissions employees, so that we're going to try to cover until September 16th if we can, but that, again, will depend upon,
Said
6th, depending upon the availability of staff, because I know football, I believe, starts August 9th. All the fall sports are going to be back in session, and I start losing staff, so, but I'm checking with all of them to see what their availability would be. Even if we maybe opened up 2 pools and couldn't open all of them, we're going to see if we can make some adjustments to stay open a little longer. Otherwise, it's been very busy over there, and stop on down.
Great. And thanks for putting together those days, those special days. Good call. Anything else for the good of the group?
Yeah, we've just been basically doing our continuous grass cutting in the parks, right-of-ways throughout the city, continuing our tree maintenance, trimming, and we did, about 3 weeks ago in the hot spell, started watering the new planted trees that we did last fall. We did our ash borer injections, spraying the weeds throughout the cities and parks. We spent a lot of time, I'd say almost a week, doing all the landscape areas downtown for the Cranberry Blossom Fest. We are rezoning some sprinklers down at the clock bell tower. We had 27 sprinkler heads on one zone, so we're trying to split that up. On the first week of June, we spent a lot of time at the aquatic center because last year we had no idea how long it actually took to set up chairs and the cabanas. What all we got?
Great. Sorry, I glanced right over your report. Sorry about that, Jake. Anything else? Next item would be adjourned. Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oops. Yep, sorry. Lee and Tom. Great. Thank you, everybody.